Hey guys, welcome back to another brand new video. I'm Aditya, and in this video guys we'll be learning about functions in C++ programming language. So till now we have covered about some basic conditional statements, loops, operators, conditional operators, logical. So now we'll be diving into a new topic, that is functions. So functions are very common in any programming language you take like Python, Java, and they're also very interesting. So guys, without wasting your time, let's get into the video. So guys, I think now you can see on the screen we have a C++ file open in VS Code. So we have Visual Studio Code all files over here for running and debugging. I've already set it up everything and I have done this in a C++ folder. So now let us discuss what a function is. So a function is a way which you give a specific set of instructions in a kind of a group, so that whenever you want, suppose you want to have repeated code in your program, that time you can you can take that repeated code, paste it in a function, and call that function whenever you want to actually use that task. So now let us see this implementing on how this function works. So first let us write a basic function. And one more thing is this whatever you see the main, this itself is a function. So this is called as the main function. This is nothing but an entry point to the program. So whenever the C++ compiler actually checks all the C++ files we have, suppose we have multiple C++ files. Right now we only have one. So when it checks all the C++ files, it will find for this main function. In this we define all our entry point, whatever task we want the application to do, whatever we want the computer to do for us. So now let us see what we'll see how we output to the console. So we have learned, right, in the basic first video I guess we have thought. So C out, and here we write hello world. So here instead hello world we'll write functions, learning functions. So so this is a basic output text output function which we do once commonly practice. So suppose it was in Python, what we would do is we'll write a function. So we'll write like this print, and here we'll write hello world or anything we want. But in case of C++, what people mostly do is they use the cout, that is standard output stream. So instead of that, let us make a function for this. So let us call this uh, void. So let us create a function for printing to the console. So first let us run this function and see if it works. So I'll go to terminal, uh, run, start without debugging, and build success. Now here we can see learning functions. It's good. Now let us create an alternative for this, which is much more simpler. So I'll just try reset the spelling. Yeah, so this is how we write the function. So here void, and we give the function name. So we'll give the function name as print, and here inside this we'll give parameters. So now what our parameters have set, right? So this over here will be is a string. So we'll take a string as a parameter. So now still you might not be able to understand what parameter is and what actually we are doing right now. So I'll just write a simple function and then we'll see the implementation, and then you may start getting things. So understanding all those things, what is happening right here. So here we'll just write text. So string text, and here what we'll do is simply output cout text like this. So here make sure I set like this text, and what I can do is now call. So print, I can call this function, nothing but using this function. I'll use this function like and here we have seen that we have given parameter. So this is nothing but the variables which the function will use. So here we are using the string variable, and whatever this variables we are mentioning here that this function will use should be given at the time when we are calling or using this function. So this is declaration function declaration, and this is function calling. So here nothing but we are calling the function or using function calling or function using. It is mostly called as calling, function calling. No one uses using. Just for your understanding, so I just wrote like this. So here what we can give is a string. So here I'll just give learning functions, or let us just paste the string itself. So control C and control V. So that's very simple, and now let us run. So go to run and select Control F5. You can also use the shortcut key Control F5. So here you can see we got two times learning functions, learning functions. So to see this in the next line, what we'll do is we'll add over here an indel. Or actually we can also do like this, like /n. I think I have not talked much about the escape object, escape sequences. So we'll also see about escape sequences. So now it should actually have one extra line space. So not in the next line, but it will leave one line space completely free, and the next line it will print. So now let us go run, and as you can see over here we have one line completely free and it is printing in the third line. So first, second is completely free, and third line, as you can see, it is simply executing the same cout but in our own function. Now let us use it with different data types. So here we have mentioned it string, so that is nothing but this parameter. So the thing is, one more thing is, these are called as parameters. So when you declare a function, in function declaration, whatever variables you are mentioning here, which will be used by the function, these are called as parameters. And whatever variables which you give while calling the function, these are called as function arguments. So very important note to remember. People usually use these words interchangeably, but that's not actually the correct thing. So you must know the actual meaning of what they mean. So that was about function arguments and function parameters. So now let us give us an integer. So here you can see we have only taken string, right? Now what happens if we give an integer? So as you can see here, already we are getting an error. So no suitable constructor exists to convert from int to string actually. So you might be not understanding what a constructor is. So you'll understand when we come to object-oriented programming and constructors, destructors, so all these things. So now if we run, it won't run, actually we'll get an error. So what I'll do is we'll create a new function. So here I'll say void print, so with the same name only. So with the same name I'll take int integer, and here what I'll do is cout, same cout, and I'll write integer and semicolon. Now as you can see over here, the error disappears. Now let us see if this works actually. So you can go here, run without debugging, and it should run successfully. Same, so learning functions and 10. So that's great. So what actually are we doing this? What is this called right now? This condition, what we are doing right now over here. So this is called as function overriding. So what we are doing is function overloading. So not overriding. So almost both are same, but applies to different context. So I won't be explaining about both of them, differences between both. Now let us just see what we are doing here. So here, what we are doing is, so here you can see one overload. So what we are doing is we are defining same function twice because we want to use that function with two different data types. So that is nothing but function overloading. When you want a different set of arguments to be used by the same function, so here we are using different set, right? Over here we are using a string and here we are using an integer. So it is completely different data types, the set what we're trying to use. So that's why we just can't directly give like some dynamic. In Python you don't need to mention all these data types, rather you can just give a variable name and it will automatically figure out what it is and then directly do it. You won't get any error like this. But whereas C++ is a statically typed programming language, so that's why we get this error. We'll be discussing more about this core concepts of programming languages also soon, so don't worry about that. So that's why we are getting this error. Now we have run it, right? So we got the output correct. So now let me explain about return values in functions. So here you can see void, and over here also we got an int. So what is this int, void, what is this we are writing before the function? So this is called as return value. So what happens is that when your function executes, so here when this completes executing, what happens is that, so let me just create a variable called as int a equals print 10 and int, and here let us return the value of what we are giving, return integer. and end it with a semicolon. So we'll just wait for a moment, guys, and here let us add a breakpoint over here. I guess that's it, and we'll add another print statement also. So we'll just write like print, and we'll say hello, exploring, understanding, return values. So and end it with a semicolon always. Don't forget that thing, that's very important. And let us add breakpoint over here better. Yeah, so now let us go and select start debugging. Now you will see. So here our application is actually stopped. So it is just in the first line. Now I'll go to debug panel over here, and here you can see the value of a. So we have created a variable a, right? So that value, and currently nothing has happened on the console right now. So I'll just go to the next line, step over. Now it should print the first print statement. It executed the first function. So it executed successfully, and it has gone to the second line. Now still you can see the value of a is equal to 0. Now let us go and click step forward, and as soon as we go there, the value of a will be equal to 10. So it is returning the value and storing it in a variable. So now as soon as you can see we got 10 over here. So that's how it works, and here also you can see in the output we got 10. So that is only nothing but return value. You just return a variable, and when you return that variable, you can store it in a variable like how we did over here, and use it in some other formats, whichever you like. So this is a basic example of how return values are used. So that was about it, and now I can just go step, and here it will still wait, and program is done. So guys, that was about function. So let us have a small recap. So what exactly is a function? So function is nothing but a set of tasks which you can group it together in a function and give it a specific name, and you can also give parameters to the function while declaring it. With those are nothing but the variables which you will be using in your function. And whenever you want to use same function with different or multiple data types which are not the same, that is the same thing. So string and here int, that time you can use function overloading, or different sets of parameters also, that time you can use this function overloading. And there's also concept of function overriding, which we'll be discussing at the time of object-oriented programming, or the OOPS concept. And return value, so a return value is nothing but a value which is returned after the function has executed successfully or completed a task successfully, and it returns a value. And the return value can be of any type, so it can be an integer, a string, but the main thing is that whenever you want the return value to be a specific type, that time you must mention over here like int. So as C++ is a statically typed programming language, if you want to return a string, you must mention that it will be returning a string. And here, when I said to return an integer, as you can see, we get an error. So that is the main thing. Be careful about that. Whatever value data type you mention over here, make sure that you are returning the same thing. And if you even don't return, still you may get an error, because it is compulsory. You might be wondering why is it not working with this function, that is int main. We have given an int main function, and we have said that return value will be of integer, but we are not returning anything. The reason is it is exceptional only to the main function. It automatically returns 0, actually 0 or 1, I don't remember actually. It is something like 0 or 1 if the program executes successfully, or not 0 1 like that. So it's only an exception for main function, but other all functions you will probably get an error. So make sure that you check that when you declare and use your functions, that you always be careful with whatever you're returning, and make sure the data type is also correct. So guys, that was it for this video. I think the video has gone a little bit long. So thanks for watching, guys. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. So guys, thank you. See you in the next video.